Hey, hey, Sonoran Sounder here. We've got some I-League action. Game one just completed. We're looking at Jonboy versus GB HNPL 72. And GB did just win the first game. Looks like it's Jonboy's start here in game two. Let's take a look at the kingdom. We've got Militia as an attack here. We've got Stables and Journeyman look to be pretty good draw cards. We've got the Candlestick Maker to accumulate some coffers and for buy. Warehouse will help with cycling. Looks like the players have already gotten underway here. As I look at this board for an open, I'm probably looking at something like Silver Militia. Be a good way to make sure you hit 5, as I think hitting 5 is going to be pretty important on this board, as you really want to load up on stables. I think the militia attack should be significant here. Trashing and thinning, really just stonemason. That's really a card that you would use more to accumulate cards with the overpay benefit or the trash for benefit feature, but it can be used to thin copper's okay, not great, because it does use up your action and you can only thin one copper at a time. Not great for trashing estates though, because you do have to gain a 2 cards costing less than it, so you're really junking yourself by adding more copper to your deck. There is gardens here for some alternate VP as well. If they do accumulate large decks, like very well may happen on a board like this, especially with colonies and platinums. Let's take a look at their opens. Jonboy opened Warehouse. That's okay. Again, it's hard to thin here, so Warehouse is good for some filtering. They opened Warehouse Militia. GB opened Silver Militia. Like I said, I think I do prefer the Silver Militia. Better chance of hitting higher price points early. Warehouse really is like I said, more of a filtering card. It doesn't add cards to your deck. In fact, you subtract cards. You play the card, you draw 3, you discard 3. So you start with a 5-card hand, you end up with a 4-card hand. So on this, like I said, on this kingdom where there's not good thinning options, I do think you will want to accumulate some warehouses along the way. We have a gold buy in turn 3. Not a big fan of that. Again, I would look to build draw early and then add the money cards later. We do have GB picking up a Candlestick Maker. Presumably they just hit 2 there. We do have some stables purchases, which is good. I think that would be my first priority on this board for draw. Journeyman's a great draw card too. That's obviously a terminal card that requires village support to really use effectively. And of course, the only village on the board is City, which is very expensive at 5 costs, which is why I personally would prioritize getting the stables. All right, so we have Jonboy here playing the Secret Passage, bottom decking an estate, attacking with the militia and hitting 5. I assume this is going to be a stables, another stables for them here. At some point, you do want to start adding the cities and journeymen, but initially stables are going to be your best way to draw and cycle through and make sure you hit those price points. As they do get a little bit better deck control and better draw, that Candlestick Maker as the only plus buy will be important, as you're going to want to start buying multiple cards on a turn. Of course, the militia attack does make that a little bit difficult. 3 here, they pick up a silver. Um, Again, I would not be adding a lot of money at this point until you're getting better control of your deck. Looks like they both have some silvers already, gold, and there's the first platinum purchase. Um, Platinum obviously a very good card on this board. That's going to help you hit colony. I just think, like I said, I would delay purchasing money a little bit until you get a little bit better deck control. So Jonboy with their stables, looking good. Warehouse, they are starting to hit some higher price points as well. Looks like they hit 9. I'm guessing they're going to get a platinum here. Again, I think Jonboy really needs to pick up a candlestick maker so they can start turning these bigger hands into multiple cards, whether that's buying 2 stables on a turn, a city, and a journeyman. I really want to focus on the draw at this point. Okay, we have our first stonemason, which is an excellent purchase on 7 here. You can buy the stonemason for 2 and then get 2 5-point cards based on the overpay. So that's the other option besides the candlestick maker of obtaining multiple cards on a turn. So they do get the candlestick maker here and a second stonemason. I don't really like that. They could have picked up a city and a journeyman or a couple more stables. Probably a couple more stables is just good at this point. I do like that they got the candlestick maker, but I think they could have been a little bit more efficient with that turn. And here they do get another candlestick maker. So they are seeing the benefit of multiple gains on a turn, especially now that they're got some good draw in their deck. All right, GB playing the secret passages, have the militia attack here. They're going to hit 9 again with just the 1 buy though, which I assume they're going to get another platinum here. They are going, GB seems to be going more heavily on the secret passages, which is okay. It's just not a great card. Again, you're drawing 2 cards, but then you got to put one of those cards back into your deck, so it's a net neutral effect. Can be good for smoothing out your hand or putting bad cards, estates, and coppers on the bottom of your deck, so that they are deferred until later and then potentially miss the shuffle. So we have 12. They are going to, Jonboy is going to get the first colony here. I think I like building a little bit more. They have just the 1 platinum at this point, and not a lot of draw yet. It's just not going to be sustainable. I assume GB is going to do the same thing here. Again, I just don't think it's going to be sustainable for them to continue to get colonies. So I'd rather wait to add the green to the deck, continue to build. You can even build on this. I mean, you can build big on this board with stables, city, journeyman, a couple candlestick makers, the stonemasons. You can really build big here and easily get to double colony or even triple colony in a single turn. I suspect both players are going to struggle to hit colony unless they can line up their draw with their platinum. So a bit of a sad turn it looks like for both players here. Not stonemasoning a copper here is a little surprising. They do go for a secret passage. I think I would have just trashed a copper there for a little more thinning and then picked up a warehouse, especially now that they're greening and their decks are starting to fall apart a little bit, especially since they're not adding draw. I think the warehouses can be very good cards here. GB does pick up a warehouse there, so I think that's a good buy with their the 3 coins there. Again, another sad turn here for Jonboy. Got their candlestick maker, but aren't able to take advantage of the multiple buys. Looks like both players should have better turns here. The warehouse again to filter. I'm going to play the militia for the attack here. As Jonboy, I think you need to discard the stonemason and a copper here. They get hit 7 and 2 buys with 3 coffers. Again, for me here, this is 2 stables. I really want to shore up the draw and make sure I'm able to consistently hit the price points I want to reach colony later on. They do pick up another platinum. Which is okay, but not ideal, I don't think, at this stage of the game. So Jonboy, again, a bit of a sad turn, and I think they bottom decked their platinum, their only platinum. They're going to pick up gold, more money here. GB hits 7 and also gets gold. So this should be a much better turn for Jonboy. I'm sure they will, assuming they hit 11, will colony here. And given the state of their decks, I think at this point that makes a lot of sense. You go ahead and play the stables here. You're a little sad to discard a silver, but you really want that draw. And they do hit colony and can bank a couple coffers here. So good turn. Again, though, lining up a stables with the hand that they have platinum really help make that work. Problem is now the rest of their deck is going to be a little bit of a struggle as they get to the bottom of this shuffle. Okay, we've got GB with a lot of secret passages. They're going to be just short of being able to colony here. We'll see. They seem to like the platinum, and at this point, oh, they did have the coffer, so they were able to buy the colony. And with colonies being low, I think you're now at the point of the game where you're just having the green. Both players even here on points with half the colonies gone. Again, their decks are such that they're not going to be able to hit colony frequently, so there is some room still to build here, but obviously at this point when you hit 11, you just got to click colony. So again, a sad hand for Jonboy, as I expect the next one will be as well. Yep. Let's see if GB can draw here. Now they're going to end up with presumably 5. You'd put a copper on the bottom. No, they're going to put an estate down there. More money for them. Which at this stage of the game, money is starting to be a decent thing to put in your deck when you're not hitting the province and colony price points. So big hand here for GB with lots of platinum, but unfortunately they don't find a candlestick maker to be able to use all that money. They will get the colony here, which is which will be good. So here for Jonboy, I think he just, yeah, it doesn't matter much as long as you leave a coin card in hand for your stables. Here, I think you have to maybe just top deck the secret passage. You can draw it back up with the stables, or top deck the stables and play the secret passage. That's probably a little bit better. Though again, you're going to have to, if you top deck the stables and play the passage, you're going to draw the stables and something else, and whatever that something else is, you'll have to again put back on your deck, because the passage doesn't draw you cards. It's neutral, hand size neutral. Yeah, Jonboy seems to be in a bit of trouble here, just with the one platinum. It's going to be difficult for them to hit Colony on turns that they don't have their platinum, and when they do get their platinum, they're still not guaranteed to reach. So here maybe just put the gold on top and play the stables and discard the silver, and hope you draw enough money to hit 11. One thing Jonboy does have going for them is the ability to get multiple gains, so gardens can start looking very attractive to them too as these decks kind of stall out. Gardens at this point are going to be worth 3, so they can get a colony here, which is fortunate for them. GB has the warehouse, so they have a potentially promising hand here. And yeah, they're going to hit colony, so that's probably going to be enough to salt away the win there for GB, especially with all the platinum in their deck. I think they'll be able to hit colony again before Jonboy does. Jonboy certainly needs to score here, even if it's just an estate. Yeah, gardens. I don't know that I would use all the coffers to get a gardens here, but they need to stay within striking distance. Again, I don't think they're going to be able to get that last colony, but before GB, based on all their money, but that's what they have to play for at this point. So yeah, I think both players really missed big opportunities with Stonemason here. It's a difficult card. It's one that I've struggled with a bit too. More the on play effect for pile control, but especially earlier in the game, early to middle of the game, when you start hitting those bigger price points, 7, 8, 9 coins, where you can 7 coins, buy a stonemason and gain 2 5-point cards. The 5-point cards here are so good. It's really kind of sad that we've only seen 3 stables come off the board, and cities and journeymans haven't even been touched. Stonemason is a great way to accumulate multiple good cards like that. So 9 or 10 here, obviously one coin shy of ending it. This could be a couple gardens. Province is fine. Again, I don't think I would spend the coffer to get the estate. I think I would hang on to the coffer that way, like on this turn. This next turn, it would give them, well, I guess they'd be one short again, but Jonboy here is just going to hit 5, so I think that's just a gardens. Gardens better than duchy here, simply because, and they do go with the gardens, simply because it can be worth more than 3 if the game goes long enough. I don't think it will. I suspect GB will end it on one of their next 2 turns, but um, there's certainly no downside to taking Gardens over Duchy at this point. All right. So let's see what comes from the warehouse, and there you go. So game 2 goes to GB. They're up 2-0 so far in the match. An interesting board. I think there's some both players did some good things there, but a lot of potential to really build big there and score multiple colonies or provinces in a turn. All right, on to game 3. So, what do we have here? First thing that jumps out to me is Sentry. That's going to be your best trashing here to really thin down and get control of your deck. Grand Market is a very good card, often a bit overrated, but still a great card. Cantrips, it's a cantrip with 2 coins and a buy. So that's going to be an important card. Again, we have Stonemason here. I suspect both players will probably overlook the power of Stonemason again, and that's one. With Grand Market, you cannot have any coppers in play, but with Stonemason, if you buy a Stonemason for 8, you can potentially pick up 2 Grand Markets, even with the copper in play, because you're not buying the Grand Market, you're gaining it. So again, Stonemason I think can be a really, really key card here in this set. But my first priority is to get a Sentry so I can start getting rid of coppers and estates. Thin down well, and tried to do some Stonemason stuff. And given the limited draw here, I think Grand Market really will be a good card. So what do we have on the open here? We've got GB opening silver. Again, Jonboy is doing the Stonemason overpay for 2 to gain another 2-point card, a native village, as well as a second Stonemason, which I just don't think you need the other Stonemason in your deck. Stonemason, again, the big benefit as you buy it is the overpay for getting 2 good cards. And then they do go silver with their next buy. Okay, GB gets a Mandarin. Mandarin is probably one of my least favorite cards in the game. Whenever you play it, you're forced to put a card from your hand onto your deck, which is almost always a bad thing. You want to be playing all your good cards in your hand and not having to put cards back on your deck. And then the second part of that, when you gain this, you put all the treasures you have in play back onto your deck. So again, a pretty narrow window for when something like that would actually make sense. Generally, you do not want treasures on your deck. You want to draw the treasures. You want your action cards in your starting hand, especially your draw cards. The native villages can make sense maybe to get 1 or 2 native villages to help you play more terminals. There's just not a lot of terminal cards that I want to be playing on this board, though. Haggler is certainly very good as a way to gain additional cards. Jester, again, I think it's an overrated card. It can be, if you get some good hits. We'll see if GB gets a good hit here where they can gain. It's just a copper, so it does junk Jonboy's hand a little bit, his deck a little bit. So Jester can be good for junking your opponent or picking off their good cards that you can gain. So both players do have a Sentry, so that's good. They are both able to trash and thin down here. Jonboy not going to play the Stonemason, which I think is good. You want to get that 5-point card. And they do get the Jester. So Mandarin here, and they're provincing. Okay. Given the amount of money in their deck, I guess the province isn't horrible at this point. Again, I like the idea of building more, especially with grand markets here, and they did get the one grand market. I guess that's one thing that Mandarin helps you do, is it allows you to buy the grand markets straight up. GB may just have a big enough lead here where they can just a better deck where they can just single province here and not have to worry about getting caught. We got 6 here, but one of those is a copper. Another Sentry I think is a good purchase. Help you to continue to trash as well as discard green cards as you begin to accumulate them in your deck. So they do trash with the Sentry here, trash the Stonemason, which I think is fine. I'm just a little confused why they got the second Stonemason in the first place. But yeah, I don't think the Stonemason is a great card to have in your deck. Again, it can help you trash some coppers, and it can help you, like if you get some gold in your deck, you can Stonemason a gold and gain 2 5-point cards from that, something like a Haggler and a Sentry. So that's a nice effect, especially if you've got the terminal space like Jonboy does with all these villages. They're a little over-villaged here. They just don't need 3 villages here based on the number of terminal cards that they have in hand. So they get a gold there. I would have much rather seen the Grand Market. Of course, gold is a stock card, whereas a Grand Market, just 1 coin less, but it allows you to draw a card and also give you a buy, which can be helpful. Again, GB just provincing here. Another Sentry. I don't know that the other Sentry is really needed, but yeah, it can't hurt. It's certainly better than nothing. And yeah, they probably don't want to put any more terminals into their deck because they don't have the villages that Jonboy has. So they flip the Mandarin. They take the Mandarin from the Jester. So no good trashes from the Sentry. Jonboy's pretty trashed down. Their deck's getting to be in pretty good shape now. I don't know, though, if they may just be too far behind to catch GB at this point. But it does look like they've done a good job with that Sentry getting their deck in order. I think I discard the silver here. Again, you generally don't want treasure cards in your starting hand. You'd rather draw them. Certainly top decking the Jester is fine. Now here with the native village, okay, they put the silver on top and now they're setting it aside. That's fine. You do have to put another silver on top of their deck, which isn't ideal. So GB's going to get to play a bunch of Sentries here and filter through. So they suspect they're going to hit province here. Just discarding their estates rather than trashing them at this point, which given That there's only 3 provinces left, I think makes sense. Yep, they're going to have a big hand here, potentially even get to double province. Those grand markets are very good cards, especially on this board. Yeah, so that should just about do it. Double province. With 3 is probably just another menagerie for me to help with draw. Pick up an estate. Again, with only 1 province left, that's fine at this point. They are at the bottom of their deck, ready to shuffle. So I would rather shuffle in a useful card than an estate. That 1 point probably not going to matter at this point, but again, they look pretty well won here. I don't really see a way back for Jonboy, especially without any grand markets giving them additional buys. So they're going to top deck a province, gain the duchy. This is a little bit of a challenging board to play in that there just isn't great draw, but again, I think prioritizing hitting those grand markets is important on this board in particular. It's just such a good card, especially when there's no other draw. Menagerie can be draw, but early on, it's certainly not going to be until you really get thinned down. So I suspect they're going to get here this turn. GB, they got the menagerie, which, yep, they should play that now, and that's game. Get the win in hand here. So game 3 to GB. Looks like they're just playing to the top of the hour here. It may finish up another time. So again there, Stonemason. Tough card to play, but really missed out on the potential of the Stonemason there. Liking what they were doing with the centuries, thinning down. Mandarin is a card I think you can largely ignore. It did prove somewhat beneficial in being able to buy the grand markets there, though, as obviously you can't use coppers to purchase the grand markets outright. All right, so new board. Let's take a look at what we have here. Okay, we've got a few cards that we've seen already. So here we've got a couple pretty powerful cards that jump out to me. Well, 3 really. Minion can be a great attack as well as filtering, draw, payload card. So that's certainly something that you want to look at. Masquerade is a great card. Allows you to draw, junk your opponent, and trash. That's honestly, even though it's the cheapest card on this board, cheapest action card on this board, it's probably the most powerful just for the effect that it has. And then, of course, Throne Room. Throne Room that allows you to play an action card twice could be another crucial card on this board. So, both players open Bishop, which not a big fan of. Bishop is nice in that it lets you trash, gives you a coin, gives you VP, but it also lets your opponent trash. So it lets them thin just as quickly as you thin. So Jonboy trashing a copper here, but GB also can trash a copper and does so off of Jonboy's Bishop. So especially when there's other good trashing on the board, I would much rather open with a Masquerade then a bishop. Both players do go bishop silver. I think my preference here would be silver masquerade. Doctor's an interesting card too. That also has that overpay feature where you can trash cards from the top of your deck based on how much you've overpaid for it. So that can be a good trasher as well. Oh, we've got a Gardens buy already from Jonboy. Not sure what that's about. It's a bit too early to be greening, and when you're playing bishops and masquerades and thinning, I don't expect Gardens to be worth a lot here. Jonboy plays the bishop over the masquerade. I think I would have played the masquerade there. Masquerade allows you to junk your opponent, give them a bad card, rather than allowing them to trash a card and continue to thin down. Plus, you still get to trash a card as well. I think the VP benefit from the bishop can be a bit overrated, especially in the early game. Late in game, bishop can be a nice way to get some additional VP, but early on, I certainly prefer other trashing. So Jonboy should trash a copper there. They chose not to, especially since they already have 5 in hand, even if they trash a copper. So I'm not sure why they chose not to trash a copper there. They do choose to trash a copper off the masquerade. And pick up a gold, which again, I think here I want to thin down and build before I start adding money to my deck. Boy, the bishops are flying off the board. GB picks up yet another bishop. They do have the cities to help support playing multiple terminals, but it's a bit overkill on the bishops here. They do trash a bishop with a bishop. I guess the thinking is going for the VP at this point. Can hear both players ignoring minion. I think minion's just too good of a card to ignore on this board. So Jonboy should trash another copper here. I think minion is the clear best card at this point. They're just going to go money-ish though. Continue to get golds. Jonboy should trash a copper here, and they do. They should trash another copper here, but I suspect they want another gold. GB is trashing silver, so they're just going for full bishop points, which very well may work on this board. They got the city village support. They can play multiple bishops in a turn. Problem is they're going to be running out of cards here very soon because they only have 1 gain on this in their deck at this point. If they're going to continue to pursue this, they do trash a bishop here, and then they buy it right back. If they're going to continue to pursue this, I would suggest that they look at a cash, just because it'll be a way to add more cards to their deck. Otherwise, they're just going to keep cannibalizing their deck without being able to increase their deck size at all. So another gold for Jonboy. Not sure if they're trying to build to. Suspect they're trying to build to platinum and just go with a straight money deck. Get a couple of platinums in their deck and start buying colonies, which yeah, it'd be interesting to see these two different strategies. GB going for the bishop points, Jonboy going for money and presumably colonies with a little bit of bishop stuff on the side. So yeah, GB needs to stop trashing off of Jonboy's bishops just because they don't have many cards left. And here they've drawn their deck. They trash a copper with the bishop. I would bishop the bishop and get a cash here. Oh no, they don't have enough money to get a cash here. Another bishop. Okay. Well, Jonboy certainly got an opportunity to catch up here, given that GB is really just kind of spinning the bishops around. It's a pretty slow way to accumulate VP, especially if you're only buying one card at a time, and they're really at the point now where in order to increase their deck size, they got to stop playing bishops and add money to their deck sufficient to buy a cash. Now these cities will start drawing 2 cards once the bishops are gone, but that doesn't really help them. They don't have a problem drawing at this point. So Thrones the Mask, passing silvers back and forth. And are they going to platinum or colony here? I think they should get a platinum first to give them a better chance of more consistently hitting colony. Now they're going to have a green card in their deck, and it's going to be much more difficult to reach colony. So they do bishop the bishop here. They have enough money to buy the cash. Let's see if they do it. No, they just get another bishop. So like I said, that does activate their cities. So not that drawing's a problem because they got such a small deck, but it does have that benefit. Jonboy here with 8 is going to province. So we're really in the same situation here, GB. They can bishop a bishop, and they'll have 5 again if they want to get the cash. So they can add 3 cards to their deck, give them more bishop targets, but instead they do the silver and get another silver. So I think Jonboy should be able to catch him here if they just continue on this path of money and green. GB is just not going to be able to score enough doing this. Again, if they add a cash, they can start. Ooh, trashes the city. Interesting. Hey, there they go. They added the cash. Unfortunately, they got rid of one of their cities, but this will allow them to double bishop. Jonboy hits colony. See, now GB's deck is moving. And they get a platinum. Yeah, they just needed to. Wish they wouldn't have killed their other city, but now they're going to have a much more productive deck, and this might actually be a race to the finish here. Though again, Jonboy really, boy, they could have really used a platinum. If they'd have got that platinum over the first colony, I think they would have a much easier time hitting province and colony much more consistently. I assume here they're probably not going to play their bishop, Jonboy that is. GB now can play 2 bishops if they choose. Nope, they're just going to do 1, and they're going to go colony. Okay. So yeah, GB switched gears here. It looks like just in time to probably salvage and win this game, I suspect. because it just wasn't cutting it what they were doing with the bishops and rebuying what they bishoped away. So here they're going to be able to get another colony. So again, GB is going to have, with their smaller deck, that green is going to hurt a bit more, but a royal seal there for Jonboy. I'm not sure what the thinking is there. If they're doing money, I'd have just preferred another gold. I don't think you're going to want to top deck anything at this point, which is the main benefit of the royal seal. You gain a card, you may put that on top of your deck. At this point, I think they're just greening, so they don't really need that benefit. Jonboy goes ahead and trashes a colony. I don't hate that. Their deck is so small, the colonies are kind of clogging up their deck. So obviously it's a net negative point move, but it does free up their deck space and grab another platinum here. So I think GB is just going to be on their way to winning now. Jonboy does hit colony here, but again, I think they're just going to have a much harder time getting another colony with no platinum in their deck. GB goes colony, and I think GB is going to be able to take another colony here just by bishoping a bishop. And Jonboy's probably going to need to play this masquerade and hope to find 2 money cards so that they can, I guess they can't colony. A colony would be a 1-point loss at this point. So maybe you don't play it and you just buy a province here. Yeah, unfortunately for them, colony leaves them 1 point short. Maybe they get past the city. Oh, I guess it's that makes sense because now it's game over either way. They just take the colony there.